welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. We just got out of the rusty Cutlass. Thank you so much, Sophie. That was amazing.
It was great.
Thank you. It was so exciting to do.
Yeah, look, I had a lot of that. Felt like a good classic Escape This Podcast style escape room. It was great.
Damn, that fit right in. I am impressed.
Thank you.
That's really funny. Yeah, oh my god. I would like to think that if I designed a pirate ship room, it would be like this one. I don't know if I do it that well, but yeah, it very much I felt right at home with this one.
It was great. It was nice to have the double rooms.
By you guys, so I'm glad it fit.
Double room, having the stairs up to the poop deck as well, that made me panic a little bit and going, oh god, there's a third.
But you could almost, I didn't even draw that third section. I just kind of wrote out
I
it
drew
has
all
these
of the
things
things that were on it. Yeah, cool. All right, so let's talk about our highlights and our lowlights. I felt like an idiot. That was
we both should feel like fools for the same reason.
Yeah, that was such a perfectly reasonable puzzle.
It was a perfectly reasonable puzzle. It made sense that the parrot was saying it. It was so it was right there in front of our faces the whole time. It was.
I know. I've done that. I've been that obnoxious GM who just has to say the exact same thing over and over again.
It had the words "pay attention" in it, and we still didn't pay attention.
I was trying so hard.
So
I even noticed that one of the words was "for."
I wish I'd listened to you properly when you said that.
Yeah,
that
really, it's your
was
fault.
The one that kept me up at night, so I had to go and write it down. You know when you're about to go to sleep and it pops into your head.
And you know that you're not going to remember it in the morning.
Yeah, I had to get up and everything just sort of came from that because I knew that I wanted to do it, and it made me feel so clever to think about it.
It was great.
Awesome.
Do you know the element of that one that I really liked?
Mm.
Because it's like a really fun level of like double take. Because it got me, which is I think I am looking for 5 digits.
Mm-hmm.
So I am looking for 5 numbers. And then I going through that message going, I can only find 4 numbers, 2, 10, and 4.
Oh, no.
Right? Until realizing, no, that's 5 digits. 4 numbers, 5 digits. Like, I can put that in. Like, really, it caught me up for a moment there, and I really like that element of it. I don't know why. It's just a fun little double take.
That's the thing that I know we've heard before, and I know that Tommy has definitely said this before, that if you've got a number thing, you got to make it so that the numbers don't get predictable by the end, so you can do things like that.
Yeah, the 10 throws you off in a fun way. So you have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pay
covering
attention.
2 digits in a single thing. Yep.
I was so proud of that one. I was so proud of it. I talked about it for days.
Oh, it was. Yeah,
you know, it's so annoying that when we first went over and went into the room and I was doing my drawings and everything, I was so proud because of the detail that I'd put into things, because next to the bird's cage, I have quotation marks and the full phrase, pay attention, look for the points. And I just didn't get that to get to the deck.
To get to.
Oh my God, I screwed up bad in this one.
To get to. Yeah, look, it was, I really like that one. I think I love doing the logic puzzle. I love a good logic puzzle. And that was a great level of logic puzzle. So I
didn't need to do an excessive amount of writing.
Yeah, I wanted to make it simple enough so that it didn't like take up too much time or anything. So I sat there for ages, like
and
working
you did
out
that perfectly.
What to do there.
Yeah, that was very fair. All right, and then the other one.
The other thing that's nice about that logic puzzle.
Oh yeah.
Is that it's like, if you find the logic puzzle first, which you can, if like you decide to look up flags or logic puzzle, whatever, in the thing in the logbook, it feels a little bit too much, and you're solving for so much. But once you know, we just need to know about chase.
Yeah,
chase,
then it feels nice and smooth. Chance.
Then it's really smooth. So I think that's really nice. It's like it streamlines the experience.
You're right.
It makes so when it's much tougher, it's like,
yeah, you could do the hard version,
but even then, it's like that makes sense that would be harder if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it is solved in a way that feels like
that's a good point.
Real worldy. It's like, yeah, now you know what you're solving for, so it's easier to solve. You shouldn't have wasted so much time doing so much work. So I like that. I think it's a really fun way of having the puzzle exist in the 2 parts.
Yeah, that's lovely. And then the other puzzle thing that was in there, the letter at a time shifting thing.
That was great to do a little puzzle like that.
Yeah, that was great. And I like that you can see it and you can recognize what it is. And then it's just figuring out, wait, does this work? Do you know, Sophie, is there just one way to do that as far as you were aware?
There was at the beginning, and then when I did my playtest, I did it twice, once with my boyfriend and once with my friends, and they both did different ones to me. But it's only where you went from band to bold to bald to gold. They went from band to bond to bold to gold.
Wasn't that was what we did?
Is that the same
it?
thing? Or blonde or bald? Or
maybe, I can imagine there's other ways around.
But it was just two letters that were switched around, so I was like, okay, that's okay. So now they do it normal.
I had a thought that there was probably multiple solutions, because I believe your exact wording was, you put in your pathway, you put in the letters and it works. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, as long as we solve it, that's the solution. You know?
Yeah. I was like, as long as it makes sense, then it should work.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking at the start, when you said, it's going to be that we're changing 8 letters, and I went, if those spell something, this is the most wildly fortunate puzzle I have ever seen.
No. But they don't need to spell anything. In the end, it's nice. It's an actual hard to guess code.
Yeah, although I'm still looking at these letters, Globland, I'm not convinced that they don't spell something if I rearrange them in just the right way. I may be staring at this for a while. Long bald. That's the captain.
He's long and bald.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Captain
Long Bald.
I was just pleased I managed to get the 3 checkpoints as related. Like a treasure hunt, so you go from the ship to the stand, and then you get the gold. So I was just pleased with that.
Also super cool. Yeah, that was
of course, ship. That's nice. I love that. That is really fun. I didn't notice that. I love it.
It's nice. And then, of course, the other sticking point. While we were over, looking at the frickin' scales or something, I thought to myself, got to remember, check the door.
Check the door. That's our catchphrase. We say it all the
time.
time.
Let's check out that rowing boat first.
We never check the door. It's because we'd already checked the door. We forgot to check the other side of the door.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I very distinctly remembered.
Danny, you did.
And
you
then
didn't remember.
Stopped caring about it.
We have it on tape that you didn't check it.
It's painful.
There were a couple of things that I knew that I wanted to get in, just like little Easter eggs for Escape This Podcast. So one of them was the chair thing, because I know you were always complaining about having to figure out ways for chairs. So I was need to make
yes, I appreciate that.
That he didn't like sitting down on the job. And the other thing was the door thing, but I didn't want to make it obvious. So I was like, if they're coming through the door, then I check the back of the door, because who checks the back of the door?
It's the best way to hide it.
Which is interesting, because in every real life escape room, I 100% do it. Yeah, I never forget. Immediately as I walk through a door, I check the back of it.
We have
to
remind ourselves.
That was in the most recent room that we did, wasn't it? Had to check the back of that door.
We need to remind ourselves that these are fans of the show. We have to check all the memes.
They know my brain.
We have to anything we've done as a joke. We'll have to re-listen to our old episodes to see if we had any other bits that we've forgotten. Especially when there was no chair. We should have known. No chair. They understand. They understand what it's like. I really liked it. I liked as well. Everything was in theme and fit the situation really well. Right? So it was very much pirate shippy stuff, and then puzzles added on top. Did you? I know you mentioned that you made this room based on the sort of that we were talking about making a pirate ship room way back at the end of season 1. Did you pretty much did you try and actively follow the steps that Danny talks about in that create your own room episode, or did you have your own method of coming up with it?
That's what I sort of set out to do, because I knew that I wanted to do it sort of inspired from that. So I knew that I wanted to have a parrot, because who doesn't want to have a parrot from a pirate ship?
Of course.
And then that followed from there. And it was my intention to sort of list out all the objects and then do all that. But once I sort of did that, everything sort of just grew in my mind. And like I said, it was literally as I was trying to go to bed, and it just popped in and it would not leave me alone. So I had to get up, and it actually, the first sort of big chunk of it just sort of came out, and then it was sort of refining. It took me a while to refine and link up all the bits together, because I knew I didn't want so many different paths to follow.
Sure.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, and then there was the trouble about once you got out of the cabin, you can just get in the rowboat. So what's going to be the story of it, and I was like, well, you're going to be under
Nice.
attack. And obviously, being pirates, you can't go for them as pirates because none of the nations like pirates. They're outside of the law, so it doesn't matter which one. If you're a pirate ship, you're going to get attacked under there. So I was like, going to give them a chance. But as you know, as you saw at the end of it, they were still coming for you because you took too long to change the flag.
I thought we were trying to get a preemptive strike on them.
Like, we're just a neutral party. Don't shoot at us.
Don't mind us.
Gotcha.
I had. Yeah, it took a while to sort of like change it and that. But it was really fun doing it. I love this kind of thing. I love doing puzzles and making. I've never sort of made them before, so making them was a really fun, different thing for me to do. Originally, I wanted to do something with like a maze. So it would be like a maze with letters in it, maybe. And as you go through the maze, you go through letters, and then when you get to the middle, and then that's the word that it makes. But I couldn't figure out how to do that easily so it would be transferable. I thought that'd be quite a cool idea for a puzzle, like a physical one.
Ages.
Yeah, but I will say, like, it shows that you put a lot of thought into the kind of that puzzle design and what does make sense, because they all were both thematic and they made sense in a puzzle way. Like, it was really nice to piece them together.
Thanks.
So, like, it really came out well in terms of, I never felt like I was solving something by just throwing stuff at the wall. Like, I did start throwing stuff at the wall, but I didn't expect the things that I threw at the wall.
Yeah.
It was more for comedic
When we
purposes.
had the solution, you went, that makes sense.
I think the one thing that I wanted to actually work was the message in a bottle. Because I realized we hadn't used the bottle of rum, and I thought, if that's not thematic,
it's interesting
because
it's so thematic. It feels like it could be appropriate, but
it's a message in a bottle.
But logically, it's stupid.
It is
as a way to urgently get a message to someone.
Let it very slowly wash up on shore. So it makes sense that it didn't make sense. But I thought I actually had that one. But no,
there were a few things like the clothes and the maps that they needed to be in there, but I didn't want to have too many things sort of like that. So I did put a few things in for decoration.
Yeah, that's happened. Those were the things that I think those particular things made me feel very much like I was in a real escape room at those points.
Yes, it has that bit, because we often
just
talk about
little
the fact
suspicion.
that is often the difference, that like that sort of stuff appears in a real escape room, because if you don't have it there, people will notice. Like, it needs to be. If you don't have those things, you'll have a very bare set.
Yeah.
And
then you're always questioning what's important and what's not.
I feel like in an audio thing, you can get away with without having those things, because people can just picture like pirate stuff. You're like, hey, picture pirate stuff. Cool. Now I'll only describe to you the important things.
Yeah, that depends on who you are as a describing person.
That's true.
I 100% thought that we were going to have to make our own flag out of clothes.
You really did. You were so
I was
sure.
convinced.
There was just a box of flags.
We can do both, and we'll see whose is more convincing. Which, do you have anything, one, that was a highlight puzzle for you that just made you really happy once you'd created it? And two, was there any puzzle that gave you that just was a pain to create?
So the parrot one, definitely the best one. Like,
yeah.
I loved it. And when I did my playtests as well, like, no one got it until I had to keep saying the thing. But I didn't want to make it easier, you know. That was my favourite one, and I think it's one of those things. If you notice it, then it's easy.
It's so frustrating, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that was definitely my favourite one to do. Like, in my 2 playtests and with you guys, I was just sitting here like, that's literally doing evil villain pose, like my fingers tapping together, going.
Good thing we turned the camera off.
Yeah, I know. I thought that afterwards. I was like, that's a good thing. They can't see me. And then the one that probably did frustration. They were all like really enjoyable for me to sort of figure out doing. Probably the word ladder one. That one, because that took me ages trying to figure out how to make it into a word and then get like relevant words. So I guess that one, but I still enjoyed doing it, you know. It wasn't something that
I can see that must be one of those ones that's tricky if it's not working out, but once you've found one that works, it just feels like a miracle.
And solving it is so satisfying because of that. Like seeing that like that's the solution is really, it feels nice. Really good. So it's worth the effort putting it in. I
would have paid good money to assume that you were going to say the logic puzzle was the most annoying because that's typically the most annoying for me.
No, I just really enjoyed it. So I did. I just wrote them out in a circle, like A, B, C, D, E, F, and just like drew lines. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to do because first I only had 5, and then I couldn't make that work with everyone having different allies and that. So I was trying to draw lines between them. I was like, I have to do 6. So I was like, it was originally going to be 2 allies, 1 enemy, and 1 neutral. But 6 worked better for that, and I just went around the outside. I was like, okay, everyone's going to be allied with the people next to them. And then angry with the people across from them, and neutral with direct opposite. And that worked out really well. So,
yeah.
And then writing the clues for that, I was like, okay, I need to make it obvious, not too obvious.
They were a good level of subtlety.
Yeah,
thank you.
They were the right sort of level. Like if you were giving it to someone who was like really, if you were making it a standalone logic puzzle, I reckon you'd make it. It's probably too easy for that. But for a logic puzzle in an escape room, I think it's the perfect sort of level.
That's
right because you don't want it. In the same way that you don't want to give someone a Sudoku in an escape room. You don't want your logic puzzle. Sometimes logic puzzles can get away from you, and it's like, no, like it's its own action to sit and do a logic puzzle. Like you can buy a book of logic puzzles and do those for
when you're in an escape room, your brain isn't in that sort of meditative state.
I think it's the perfect escape room level logic puzzle.
Yeah, but then it also wasn't just outright stating blah blah is an enemy of the people with this.
Yeah, little hints of wording.
Exactly, the wording was shifted in each one, so it felt more natural.
So I did like that. That was a lot of fun to do.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It was just a great room. You mentioned you've done a few playtests. Is there anything that did change through those playtests? Or anything that in your original notes you had to like scrap and go back to the drawing board?
What was it? I can't remember where I put my notebook now. But there was definitely things that. So, the first thing that both of them did. In both of the playtests I did was drink the rum. So I had to sort of come up with. That was more what it was. It was like coming.
It didn't even occur to me. I thought we were going to have to burn it or something, and I was going to make smoke signals out of that.
True.
And then in one of them, they tried laying out the gunpowder towards the door and then set the gunpowder on fire to blow out the door. And I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a reason why that doesn't work.
I feel so uncreative.
No, we didn't do that. What is the reason that wouldn't work?
It just fizzles out.
Floor's wet.
Floor was wet, yeah. I think in one of them, I got so sick of them trying to smash their way out that I made one of them jump out of the window. I was like, right, that's it. You get so frustrated with trying to get out of this that you go, I can't take it anymore, and run and jump out of the window, and you're wet in the sea now.
And now the floors, now all the water has gotten in. It's wetter. The gunpowder definitely won't work.
Yeah.
And the thing so it wasn't anything that I changed. It was just like making sure that I was prepared for different things to occur. And then I was also really aware of the 5 points on the compass that I did, because they also did that the same as you guys. And I was like, is that something that I need to change? But I couldn't think of anywhere outside of the room to put the compass.
No, the only other place that makes sense would be the one that would be way too obvious, which is sticking it like on the wheel itself.
Yeah, that's true.
I think having it in the bed, like honestly, I think the placement's fine. I think it's nice to have stuff that goes from one room to the other, and the more you can do of that, I like that, and I like having this go out and go up to the thing. It makes sense as well that the captain would have his compass that he would use when he's driving the boat. So, like, I think it's fine. It caught us up, but not in a way that you would ever want to change. It's fun to get caught up on dumb stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That parrot puzzle certainly doesn't make me feel like, oh, I'm so grumbly. What if it were a better puzzle? It just makes me feel like a moron, and I would have felt so good if I'd gotten it.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's the right level, especially because anything that we were finding from it, like, didn't feel right. Like
No.
there was no way to make it feel. I was like, maybe it's numbers on the clock. No, that can't be correct. Maybe it's this, that, or the other. No, that's not right. Does it draw anything? No, it doesn't draw anything. So like it's I think it's exactly the right level of that, right? If you try to use it too early, it always feels like a reach that you would perfectly understand when it doesn't work.
Yay, I'm so pleased.
Yeah. No, that was great. Look, I had a lot of fun with that. It's nice to be able to do a pirate ship room. It was really good. So thank you so much.
You fulfilled one of his lifelong dreams.
Apparently
Yay.
so. Thank you so much for bringing that on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a pleasure to play.
It was a pleasure to do.
Yeah.
Well, this time next year, please bring us Rusty Cutlass 2. We'll take it.
Okay, I'll try.
Wonderful.
Return of Redwig.
Yes,
I'm a big fan. I haven't even
great.
I haven't even drawn him, but I mean that's gonna happen. Oh yeah,
Redwig. Thank you so much for coming on and running that room for us. It was so much fun. Danny, thank you for playing with me.
Aww.
And audience, thank you for listening. I hope you all enjoyed it. It's really fun to get into this again for a season, to do guest episodes and be able to play.
It is.
It's
different.
really enjoyable. So yes, thank you. For people who enjoyed that and want to follow more of the stuff that we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter at EskThisPodcast. We're on Instagram as well. But the best way to follow along with what we're doing and talk with other fans of the show and get some like behind the scenes chat going on is to join our Discord. There's a link to that below, but you can join that to chat with us, with other fans, with other guest room writers. So check that out. It's a lovely kind of fun community to be part of. You can also support the show on Patreon. If you like what we do and you want more people to enjoy more of it, you can support the network of podcasts that we're making. Anybody who signs up can appear as an NPC in any of the rooms that Danny designs. But we also have bonus episodes. There's 2-minute mysteries that we solve. There's a whole series of all of our playtests that we've ever done. For this season, because we're not doing playtests, we have a series where we're revisiting old rooms that we've designed before and talking about them and analyzing them. A lot of the rooms that took place before we ever did Podcast This Escapes. So it's like a series of special extra Podcast This Escapes. And that's for any $5 donors. There's also badges that you can get and other cool fun stuff. So if you want to support what we're doing, check that out. There's a link to that below as well. All right. Thank you, everybody.
I'm
you've drawn Redwig?
My Captain Redwig is clearly like a 20-year-old woman disguised.
Oh, yes, that's clearly a woman in disguise. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.